All right, and we're live. So what's going on, everybody? This is your boy Scotty by Nature TV,
Jamar 4.
and we are here for another episode of the Prelude. Okay, and tonight's guest is a well-known blogger from Atlanta, and he's also EP and star of one of the newest LGBT series by the name of Web Life ATL. Let's give a warm welcome to our guest of the night, Michael Fanning, aka Hey Mike. Let's bring him in the building. What's going
What's up,
on?
man? Thank y'all for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Oh, no problem.
Wait a minute, now you rocking the money. You talking about you doing the song in the belly?
Yeah, that's what he do, child. That's what he do, child. It's what
Listen,
he do.
I ain't got no rhythm, so I can't do the shit. Me, I try to do it as best I can. I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna do that. But y'all
You
support me.
ain't
That's why.
got
That's why I'm not doing the period.
we gonna have to teach you. We're gonna have to show you the ways of the shimmy.
Oh no, I'm okay. I'm okay. Some things ain't meant for me. Some things for some people. Some things for other people. That ain't for me.
Fair enough, fair enough.
I'm
But thank you
not
so
that
much
guy.
for coming onto the platform, sir. Ooh,
Oh,
Sorry.
phone popping.
the ghetto.
Let me tell you, he ain't ghetto. Earth is ghetto. Earth.
What's right? But while he's you back?
I'm sorry. That was my mother calling me. I don't have her on Do Not Disturb. But,
Okay, yeah, your emergency contacts still get to come through, but that's
yeah.
good. Shout out to your mom. But again, thank you, Mike, for coming on to the show. We certainly appreciate it. So even though we've given you like the intro and most people here know who you are, just give us your own introduction, a little bit into your background and an interesting fact about you that many may not already know.
Okay. My name is Michael Fanning, but people know me by my persona of Hey Mikey, and I am a blogger, writer, editor, radio host, philanthropist, um, elder brother of six, son, uncle, all those good things. Something most people don't know about me is I have 29 tattoos.
Do I want to know where?
They all, they're all over. You. I'll give you an exclusive. You might see them Friday. Check that out. Hey, Mike.
No response. I don't know where to go with that, but I mean, I'll be staying tuned.
Stay tuned. You follow me, I follow you. We follow each other. You'll see one way or
We
another, right?
see each other.
Yeah.
So, like, you listed a lot of mediums and platforms there.
Yeah.
So, how did you sort of get into all these hands in the pot?
Well, I've been doing and working in media since I was 19 years old. When I was at Georgia State, I was working at the Signal newspaper, and I ended up becoming the editor of this entertainment magazine there called the Urbanite magazine, where we interviewed different celebrities and musicians and artists and stuff like that. And so then from there, I had a friend who was working for Control magazine, and I was like, I see him meeting all these celebrities and stuff, and they doing these big events. I was like, I really want to be a part of that. So I reached out to him, and I was like, how do I become a part of like Control magazine? And he literally said this. He said, I can get you in the room, but the rest is up to you. You got to sell yourself. So when I came inside of there, I had a binder for like every article I had written for like Georgia State University or whatnot. And so I handed it to him and presented it to him. They read over my stuff. And the managing editor at the time, she was kind of like number 2 in the company. She said, oh, wow, you can write very well. I want to say that you write better than me. And she said, what kind of position were you looking for? I said, I was looking for a position as a writer. She said, how do you feel about being an editor? And so I started from there. And I just rose through the ranks there. And from there, learning how to blog at Control Magazine. A lot of people told me they felt like I had my own voice and I should be doing my own thing because I would blog so much. So I ended up, with my editor-in-chief, Julian's blessing, making HeyMikeyATL. And it went from there. And from there, I met some people who did radio. They wanted me to be like their third co-host. Did that for a little while. That situation didn't work out because everybody can't work with everybody. And I branched off on my own. And that's how the Hey Mikey show came to be. I'm still at Control, but I'm number 2 in the company now. I am the executive editor. HeyMikeyATL.com gets millions of clicks every year. And now I'm dibbling and dabbling in production because ultimately I know that my destiny is being a showrunner and content creator. So Web Life is kind of like my first attempt into this, kind of like me getting my feet wet. But ultimately, I want to be like, I don't want to say the next Shonda Rhimes. I want to be the first Michael Fanning.
I,
Oh,
I'm glad to hear you because a lot of people are like, I want to be the next to this, I want to be the next to that. It was like, why not just be the first you? Because
I want to be the
they
first me.
had to be the first them at one point.
Right.
Be unique. Don't be the next a copy of the next bitch. Like,
For good or bad, the only person I can be is me. And so
hmm
that's who I want to get all the credit, and that's who I want to get all the crap. Me.
okay.
that is definitely understood. I can understand if someone is like inspired by somebody else. I know
Right.
a lot of us have certain inspirations of people before us. Because
Right.
I have inspirations of people before me that's been doing what we're doing now. But I don't want to be like them. Like I want to do my own thing, but I still nod to them for being my inspiration, but I don't want to be like them.
And it's true. We all stand on the backs of giants. And then in the future,
Mm.
we'll be giants ourselves when people are standing off our backs. I always tell people nothing is accomplished in this world by yourself. It's people who came before you, and you need to give your homage and your nods and your credit to them when it's due. But put your own twist and your own flavor on it so it becomes something different. It evolves. You know what I'm saying?
I definitely agree. I definitely agree. So now you've sort of moved. I don't want to say necessarily behind the scenes, but more into in front of the camera with Web Life. So how did that platform come about? Since you're an executive producer, what did you sort of want to accomplish with the pilot season?
With the pilot season, I wanted to. So first of all, this is a concept that I kind of created a few years back, about 3 years ago. And the first time I tried to do it, I really didn't even know how to get like a cast together or even a show together or whatnot. And I didn't, and since I really kind of like camera illiterate, I've been learning more stuff like in the last year. But I'm pretty much like a camera illiterate when it comes to somebody who's like a more popular or famous independent or mainstream director. And so I wrote down, some people that I wanted to work with, I would want to do a reality show with, because at the time, the way I kind of garnered popularity in the LGBT community is I was reviewing LGBT web series and dealing with web series actors and stuff that was surrounding them. And so from there, they had so many different intricate stories. And even now they still do. I'm gonna give them their credit. They still have intricate stories. But it was a lot of upheaval and dismay behind the scenes. It's like they would wear this mask where, I'm this person, I'm doing this, I'm gonna go behind the scenes. So it was like they were hateful to each other. And I was just like, what if somebody came along and you show like how they really interact with each other? Sometimes they get along really well and they can work together and do amazing things. And other times, they kind of backbite and they're tearing each other down. That's just the reality of the game, unfortunately. And so I wanted to document that, via web series. I mean, via like a web reality series. Like, yeah, I was inspired when I saw like, Chasing Atlanta, and I saw G Status that did inspire me too. As you know, I was briefly a part of that. And I was just like, you know what? Well, let me take my own spin and my own flavor on it. I wanted to get people who I knew personally, who were already sort of established. Like I believe everybody on the cast that I casted, because I was casting director too, you knew them. You know their platforms. You know the type of work they do. They have a body of work. And that's what I was looking forward to showcasing. Powerhouses, how we deal and don't deal with each other. Some things went according to plan as I predicted they would be, and other things went, beyond my imagination. So that's in front of the scenes and behind the scenes too. Shout out to the other producers as well, Antar Bush and Robert Graves. Definitely couldn't have done this without them. Shout out to the entire cast: Brandon, Carson, Lacey Dahl, Freshie Official, Larry, Carl, Chris June. I really appreciate all of them taking their time out to be a part of something that I kind of dreamed up.
Baby, I can only imagine how y'all perform as these cast members, as these public figures, and in these shows and these situations. I'm like,
It's really tricky, and for me, being a cast member, being in front of the camera, and then doing stuff behind the camera, it really forced me to going into this second season, because we definitely want to do a second season. Made me realize I need to take a side, because I didn't feel like I was accomplishing much doing both, And so for me, I've just kind of decided that, like, I ultimately, like I said, I want to be a showrunner and content creator. So I'm going behind the scenes, producing behind the scenes, and I'm gonna let the other kids in this next season coming up when we some new kids and some old faces coming back. No, let them have the fun.
So you would prefer like working behind the scenes instead of being in front of the camera, basically.
With this particular situation,
Yeah,
yeah,
basically.
yeah, I would, because like I said, there's still a lot that I want to learn, and I want this to translate over to other projects that I want to do.
That's
So yeah,
understandable.
that's what it is for me. A lot of people want clout. They feel like being in front of a camera is gonna get them clout. People see them, so they they act outlandish. They do really stupid things, or they say really stupid things they can't necessarily take back. Um, I don't chase clout. I am clout, and what I want is power. And the only way you become powerful is learning everything you need to learn across the board and utilizing it and maximizing it to the best of your ability. And that's exactly what I plan on doing.
I mean, show you right, because you'd be like, oh, I was on this place and I know this person. I'm like, okay,
But
you're,
one thing I will say from being in front of the camera taught me is, I have a lot to work on. I have a lot to work on. One thing I realized from doing the show is I can be very defensive. I let the
That's
simplest things stress me out.
that's the
Um,
Aquarius in you, because I'm the same
right.
way.
I defended people who didn't necessarily need defense. Um,
I've done the same thing.
some
Jamar
of
is
the
is,
friendships did
is
take
bear
a dent.
witness to that.
They're not destroyed, but they did take a dent. And I also learned that some people, their private actions bother me none, but their public acts give me reason to pause. And that pause is how I need to deal with them. I can deal with you
Mm.
in this light and in this place, but you won't go here, there, and there with me. And this is not me being bougie. That's just to say that, you know what, ultimately I got to do what's best for me.
mm,
And that's it.
well, I tell you this throughout the season. There was one part, one particular scene. I was like, see, we are here. We see
Mhm.
each other. Was the statement where it's like, I too struggle with weddings. I struggle with
Yeah,
weddings and Valentine's Day. Right around this time of year is when I'm at my
yeah, I do
biggest
too.
and most angry.
Yes, me too. Because
This is the time
anytime
of year that's easier to
I
provoke on
think
social media.
the three of us can probably relate to that, because
You
anytime I
too?
have a man, my man, yes, anytime I have a man, baby, my man be gone long before the holidays. They
I don't
know
know.
when to leave, child.
I'm sorry to hear that. But you know the way I look at Valentine's Day though is, way it's kind of like pushed away some of my sadness is if you pin all your hopes on one day, you're bound to be disappointed.
Hmm.
The love that you want to receive and show, you need to spread that throughout the year. And just because you're not in love doesn't mean you aren't loved. So spend Valentine's Day with somebody that you do love, your child, your parent, a friend. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to be at home by yourself. It's other people. You want that like I always tell people, people look at romantic love as the be all end all, but it's different types of love. It's love of God, it's love of family, it's love of children, it's love of work. And what people don't realize is, ultimately that all adds up. And that's kind of what I've learned, like as I've become older. It does add up.
That's true. That's definitely true. Because I know this year for Valentine's Day, I'll be with some of my friends celebrating my birthday.
Oh, that's
Last year for Valentine's Day, I was dealing with a breakup, so I
hmm,
didn't want to be bothered with people all day. I just sat at
right.
home and
That's
played
that
"Not
sucks.
Gonna Cry" all day
Hmm,
by Mary J. Blige all
not
day.
Mary. Listen,
I played
Mary,
her all day.
I
Mary,
I try
Yes,
to, because we're all human. I try not to go down the K Michelle, Mary J. Blige route, because I feel like I'm
Keisha
feeding into
Cole.
her too, feeding into the negativity, and I try to get stuff that's a little bit more uplifting and more like hopeful, because that's what you want to feel like. You don't want to be going down the deep dark hole of sadness and despair. So
right,
I try to stay away from it.
right. And you
That
find ways to avoid that. Do whatever you need to do to make yourself happy for that day. Like for me, I get my ass off social media. This is the only time of year that you will see me off social media. I'm not going to sit here and let this skewed view of love from a few people because they want to post make me feel bad about myself. So I'm just not going to engage in it. I will see y'all 2 days after the fact. I will see y'all on February 16th. When all the going by.
You can turn your phone off, but you can't go to the grocery store. You can't go to any like main public marketing places. They're going to be marketing the love cars, the big balloons, you're gonna see the commercials on TV. I'm just like, girl.
You got Netflix. You can listen. You can stream all your stuff on Netflix. You can just watch that. You ain't gonna have no commercials. You can eat at home. It's a lot of things you can do. But the thing about it, don't even avoid that. It's just a fucking day. And all these people that we see posting on fucking what is it on Sunday? Just a week before, was it not in my inbox, your inbox, and your inbox? I'm not with it. I'm not with it. I'm not with it. And I always tell people like maybe posting stuff like National Boyfriend that like if I opened my DMs, you would be really pissed off. But I'm not that type of person. I figure you're gonna learn on your own. I'm not here to destroy nobody's relationship.
Child.
But you know what? Another thing I want to say before we move on from this topic, because we're gonna talk about the love life thing later on down the line. I don't even know how the hell we got here. But the thing that gets me with people that's in relationships though, they like to single shame people like us that are single. Like the first thing like they like to say is that's why you ain't got no man. That's why your man left you. That's why like the one all be all is about having a man child. Like people will bring up things that happened a long time ago. People will bring up things that happened a long damn time ago. Like I'm like on my channel, I am very much so open about my life and my struggles and things that have happened to me. And I told this one story maybe like 6 years ago that I dated a man. He got engaged on me like 3 times with 3 different people within an 8 month span. And I talked about it on my channel. Right. Doesn't make any sense. It's like I talked about it on my channel, and it's like if I'm doing a video about something that ain't got nothing to do with it, and I'm talking about their fave or something like that, that's the first thing they want to bring up. Oh, you don't like Nene because your man got engaged on you. Child, that happened 6 years ago, and the same nigga you talking about ain't even engaged nor married anymore. He on Twitter crying about not having no man right now. We in the same boat, child.
When did having a significant other give people the ultimate validation of who they are? Because the thing about it is, I'd rather be a whole person on my own and then have somebody add to me, and then everything I have depend on somebody else. Like that's honestly that cripples people when you raise them or teach them to depend on somebody else for the love and nurturing that they need. That's crazy. A man is not a financial plan, and a woman is not the crucifix of love. I'm sorry. I'm kind of new age in my shit. I believe in being my own knight in shining armor. The person that's gonna save me is me.
I would say, I think, and I think me and Jamar had this conversation. I think that at this point, this is the first time in my life that I'm actually okay with being single.
Same here.
Yeah, because for most of the time, I've never liked being single. I've always been sad about being single. I have my moments about being single. But after the last relationship that I was in and how tumultuous it was to me emotionally, and after healing from that situation, I'm okay with just being by myself. Like I'm okay with having options. I'm okay if I feel lonely for the night, I can call whomever I want to in my little black book, and they can come and do whatever it is I need them to do, and I can just send them on their way and not have to talk to them.
Get their bag, that head, then leave.
Also, you know what? I'll say it like this, and then we can potentially move from the love topic, because I feel like I'm good to say I'm okay with being single now, but it would be nice to have somebody have an established. If I already had an established relationship, I would like to have that, but I don't feel like I have the time to start one right now, to try to get to know and invest the time and the energy and that whole preemptive phase where you're meeting like someone's representative. That I just don't have time for right now.
Yeah, we have a lot going on.
Cut the because
Yeah,
I
at this point, yeah, because at this point, me and him are kind of evolving in what we're doing now. So it's kind of difficult to, even if we wanted to be in a relationship, we don't have time really,
well,
not to make us,
honestly, people make time to do
huh?
whatever. People make time to do whatever it is they want to do. As busy as I am, when I want to see somebody or I want to spend time with somebody, I do find ways to do that for them. I do sacrifice those pockets of free time that I have for them. So let's just put that out there.
Well, sometimes
But
for
you gotta
me.
have. I'll be honest with you, as somebody who's been doing this possibly, a little longer than you have to you have to find a balance. You have to find a
And
balance.
that is the issue with us right now. Like we're overwhelmed. We'll get into that in a minute, but we're kind of overwhelmed with it right now. So
Well,
we never had this.
find ways to underwhelm yourself. It's okay to say no to some things, to some people, and some projects. Prioritize what it is you want to do. Only do the stuff you know is going to propel you forward. If it's not going to be any good or beneficial to you, don't do it.
Okay.
Mhm.
Child,
That's
that is a
exactly
lot.
what I do.
Never mind. Oh, what's about to be messy?
This is not to toot my own horn, but I have an inbox of people who might, will you review this song for me, or will you post it up there? Well, me posting about you for free doesn't do anything for me. So I mean, yeah, for a charge, I'll do it.
Baby, there's been people that have.
Or if you're a friend, if I'm posting this for you, I need you to do something for me. I see you just filmed a music video for such and such. I need a commercial film for the Hey Mikey show. Can we barter that?
Ooh,
Think
we'll
about
get to
that.
that in a minute, though. That's gonna be one of the things because
Child.
we're gonna get into that. Okay, we're definitely gonna get into that. That's one of our questions for you. We're gonna get into that.
Go ahead.
But
Hey.
for the next question, because we'll be all night talking about this shit, child. For the next question, since you already said that there's a season two, going into season two, what? Okay, I think you said there would be some old faces that may be returning, and there will be new faces. So, with you being an EP and casting director for this new season, because I know the first season is always first season of any show, it's basically like a tester or a pilot, and then you get to make all of your mistakes, or you see what mistakes you may have made. So when you go
Mhm.
into your second season, you try not to repeat those mistakes and you try to do things in a different manner. So
We
for your second
try to do
season,
more efficiently. Mhm.
what are you looking for in terms of someone coming on your show to be a cast member? What exactly are you looking for?
Somebody who can deal with the good and the bad, who would take responsibility and accountability for the stuff that they put out there. You know what I'm saying? Um, People who operate in free will, and somebody who's being true to themselves and not true to the camera. Because I feel like a lot of times when it comes to reality shows, especially LGBT reality shows, we talked earlier about our people giving a representative. I feel like people give the most dramatic, clownish parts of themselves. And I know people say, well, that's how it is or whatnot. That's what people want to see or whatnot. Well, no, 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 no. People want a balance. People like the mess, but they also like the substance too. I want balanced people. Somebody who can give me Keisha down the street and somebody who can give me um Korean upstate. For real.
I mean, it's true.
It's
Because
true.
if
I
everything
get
is
it.
just mess and fighting and loud noises, then that's going to get overwhelming. It's just
You
like,
know, like I said, I definitely have to learn that or whatnot. Because for me, I don't for my show, one of the things I put in place policies was no fighting, no physical violence. And that's for
Mhm.
real. That's not something that I feel is conducive for us as people, especially Black people, and especially as Black LGBT people. When you're part of the most hated group of people in the world, why and they targeting you? Why would you want to inflict violence on somebody else who's dealing with some of the same issues that you are? Have conflict, agree to disagree with each other, or get along with each other or not, but you ain't got to put your hands on nobody.
mm-hmm.
Then we have to learn that. We got to stop bowing down to violence, saying, "Oh, that's ratings or whatnot." Because if that's the case, we might as well be the Romans in the Colosseum or doing a buck show.
Well,
that Go ahead,
okay.
Jamar.
Go ahead.
Oh, well, that's true because a lot of the times people do think that because it is a reality show, we want to see nothing but nothing but mess and nothing but drama. And I guess it's because the older that I'm getting, the more I realize that that's not all I want to see. Of course, I like the mess. Of course,
Right.
I
'Cause
love it.
you want to know more about the people,
But
they
yeah,
family,
it's
what
like
people
I
work,
want to
like
see.
how they feel about
Yeah, I
such and
want to
such
see
issue.
different sides of the coin. Because it's sometimes if you have a show that ain't got nothing but drama in it, it becomes draining. And that's
I
coming
agree.
from a person that reviews reality shows all the time. Because
Yeah, I
it
know.
was one reality show that I watched, Married to Medicine, one season. I reviewed Married to Medicine one season, and I stopped mid-season because the drama was just
It was
draining.
just
I,
too
I
much.
was tired of talking about it. It was too much for me, you know. So, you do want to balance. So that's very
You
true.
want to balance. And I'm only speaking from what I know because I made mistakes myself. You understand what I'm saying? So
Mm.
anything that I'm telling somebody that they shouldn't do, I've lived it, I've seen it. I'm speaking from experience and not off of some high pedestal that I feel like I'm better than you. I'm saying that I was down to get down too, and I should have chose a better direction or a better way.
Mm. And I think just from like watching the show, I mean, because I definitely was excited to see like the different personalities and how they were going to mesh with one another.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was the executive producer. This is kind of like most of y'all's first time diving into this sort of project, like the reality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was definitely like for the three. Excuse me, for me and Antar at least, I can't speak for Robert because I don't know Robert's full background, but
Mm,
it's like our first big project.
baby. I was
And
like,
yeah, I mean, it
it's a
was
lot
quite
harder.
honestly.
It's a lot harder than you think.
No, yeah, it's definitely a lot harder than you think. It's a lot of different moving parts to it.
Good. Listen, honest to God, I'm figuring that out right now.
Listen, like I told you, I learned a lot from doing this. I learned a lot from doing this in front of the camera and behind the camera. I learned it. I learned one lesson from this: those who can do, and those who cannot outsource. And I will be somebody that outsources.
Hallelujah, because baby. But I mean, still for a pilot, and it was like the first, most people's first go at the bat. Like it really wasn't bad. Like you could tell where, and I think most of them have discussed it on different platforms, like where they want to improve, where they know that they could have done things better, this, that, and the fourth. So uh, I'm excited to see where when you get to the growth of season two. I'm excited to see what it looks like because even
Yeah,
like Atlanta's first season was a little, if you look at it first, even just to the second to third, like it is miles better.
it is. They grew exponentially. Shout out to them and they 16 million views. To be quite honest with you, this was the first season I ever watched in full. This most recent one. I watched the third season because We Were Born were on there, and I'm friends with Jatuan and Berlin, so I wanted to support them. But this last season, when I fully watched, and I really liked it. I was like, okay, this is really good.
It was super dope. One of
Yeah,
their best for sure.
yeah.
So I know Scotty, we have to get your full opinion on the show. What did you think? What did you think of Web Life ATL as a whole?
Um, it's a mixed bag for me. It's some things that I really liked about it, and some things that I really didn't like about it. But the stuff that I didn't like, the good thing about it is we can make improvements on it.
I agree.
That's reality
Okay.
situation. One thing I learned from being a producer from the first time is you have to look at everything not so much from here, from a heart point of view, but from a production point of view. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So what
Mhm.
you might feel is necessarily not cool for somebody per se, from production point of view, it probably is pretty cool for the show. So it's a mixed bag. It's a mixed bag, especially when the cast is kind of chock full of people you consider friends or people who are you're friendly with. Does that make sense? You find yourself caring about them, and especially when they're doing it because you're a part of you attached to it. So
I agree.
yeah,
Scotty, what were you saying?
Okay, as far as my honest opinion on this show, and I have to
go
be
right ahead.
honest.
Please be honest.
Um, okay, so I started off reviewing it. I mean, I think you guys reached out to me about it, and of course,
I did.
I was gonna do it, because you guys reached out, and I did tune in, and there were parts of it that were good, but then there are things that I felt that could be like, done better. And like you said, I think you've already acknowledged that there are things that you could tweak up and fix up. But I
Absolutely.
think that the thing that for me, I could ignore certain imperfections about any web series when the personalities or the people involved are naturally entertaining to me, because there's a web series that used to come on. It was called the Rainbow Connection, like years ago, and they had plenty of imperfections. You can tell that they had just started. It was nothing like the other web series, like about him and things of that nature. It was never nothing like that in
Mhm.
terms of quality. But because the writing was great and the actors were decent, I overlooked it. So for me, I feel like the people that were on the show, some of them,
Uh-huh.
personally, for me, their personalities kind of lacked to me. I think that's the biggest problem for me, is
Okay.
the personalities on the show. When you think of Web Life, the only two people you really think about is Carl
Abraham.
and Brandon. Like they kind of,
You know,
you got Carl and Brandon, and you got you in the middle. So it's kind of like the three of you guys kind of carried the show while everybody else just sat back and didn't do really too much, in my opinion. There ain't no jab to them, but that's just me as a
no,
viewer
it's
and as a
it's it,
blogger looking at it.
it's not a jab to them. When we filmed the show, we filmed it in a little bit over 2 months, and we wanted to get everybody's work and different stuff involved. Then we wanted to get everybody's stuff and work like shown and whatnot. But when you trying to get a product out and you kind of under a timetable, then it makes it kind of hard to squeeze the stuff you want to squeeze inside of there. Because the thing about it is like I know these people, so I know them
Hmm.
like professionally and personally. So when you get to see their personalities, when you get to see all of that, it's amazing. Like I said, for all of them, this was their first time doing a reality show. The people who have been on reality before are myself, Brandon, and Carl. So the rest of them, this was kind of like their first time doing it. And then at the same time, like I said, it has to be a bit of a balance too. If you have personalities who can be, it's like a spectrum, who can be as strong as Brandon and Carl's, and you have somebody myself who can flow either way, and you have people who have like more Mika personalities, you kind of have to have that. It has to be a cascade. Think about it. You got a Cynthia Bailey, and you got a Nene, and you got a Kim. You get what I'm saying? You gotta
Hmm.
have, you have to have that gal. You have to.
Which is
You,
true. You're supposed to have that. Like I don't disagree at all. Like you're
yeah.
supposed to have that. But sometimes I could just honestly say that some people kind of bored me. Like
And
it's not even.
that's fair. And I mean, that's your opinion because I can't change that at all.
Yeah, yeah, it's not about them. You don't have to be like, you don't have to have a Carl personality to have me be engaged with you. Like you can have like on Housewives of Atlanta, my favorite cast member is Candy, and most people think she's boring as shit. But I enjoy her. So it's certain things about her that I enjoy. Like you don't have to have the most outlandish personality, but there could be things
You don't.
about you that's interesting.
Candy is a good example to me of balance because if you see in multiple seasons, um, she's kind of goody goody and wholesome, but when people threaten her or it's just something that comes up against her, she gets loud, she gets mad, she's crying. Oh, bitch! I remember you did this. I remember you saying that. Then she gives you that. So she's a good mix of both, as opposed to like a Nene and Kim, who every time they come on, and then I need like a Nene or a Kim or a Kenya, every time they come on, like, oh shit, what's going to happen now, whatnot. Phaedra used to be like that. She was somebody who was very good balanced. And Cynthia was somebody that was meek. Kim Fields, somebody that's meek. You get what I'm saying? Tanya, somebody that's meek. You get what I mean? So like, but I get where you're coming from. I completely
Yeah.
agree.
Because you need to have the people that are the strong personalities. You need to have like the people who would be considered, I guess, meek to kind of balance them out. Because it's like if
Mm-hmm.
everybody is all in one category, then it's like it's too much.
Yeah.
That's just the example. Like with, I'm gonna use Mia Jamar's show for example, and I'm gonna use Carl and Tramel's the Corporate Mouth for example. When
Okay.
they were on our show back in December, we basically said the Corporate Mouth and the Prelude is pretty much the same. It's pretty much the same thing. Like the personalities are pretty similar. Like Jamar and I'm gonna let you get your opinion on it in just a second. I see the way you looking. Okay, so it's kind of like Tramel is takes on the Jamar role, and I kind of take on The Carl role, if you knew me as a person, you would understand why I would take on that role.
You,
However, it's the
you Carl-ish? Hmm.
If you
it's
saw my
similar.
text message from this past weekend, you would know why.
I'm not as I do take on the Carl role, but like I don't do everything Carl do now. But it's
Let me
probably
say
not to
this.
get
Let me say
along.
this while we are talking about. Let me say this while we are talking about Carl. One of the things I really wish we could have shown on Web Life is like I wish we would have talked less, far, far, far less about Brendan's OnlyFans, and showing you some of the other stuff Brendan does, like when he goes and does his auditions and stuff like that, or when he's even when he was at the house. Brandon, like when I'm preparing for a role that I'm going to do on a web series or something, like Brandon actually like coaches me and gives me pointers on how to do it. And every time I go filming, because he's done that, like I'm on point with it. You understand what I'm saying? Or you see stuff that me and Carl get to do together where we go to these professional events and it's a Carl like y'all have never seen before. Like he cuts that off. And he's very like well put together and professional and stuff. And sometimes when he's just cool and laid up and he's just kidding around and stuff like that, he's a very hard worker. Like I really wish we could have shown more aspects of that. And I feel like we should have. I feel like in season 2, you will see whoever we have in front of the camera, us really letting y'all see who these people are. Like we said, this is our first time out the gate, and the concern I think was, just making sure we get some attention catching stuff to get eyes into it. You know what I mean? But I think next season it's got to be a balance. It's no wiggle room with that. A successful show is a balanced show.
I agree. And throughout the show, there was like a lot of rumors about Chris leaving the show. Brandon left, came back, left again, and then came back. So what is this roster? What is going on? Like, are people?
Well, Chris. I think Chris learned to realize that reality television is not for him. He said some things that he could not take back. It really pissed Brandon off. I myself was a little disappointed with some of the stuff that Chris said. And I remember he was saying, he didn't feel comfortable saying certain things. And I was like, well, you have a free will. If you don't want to say something, you don't say it. You get what I'm saying? That's how it was. There was some things like when I was doing confessionals, they were like, well, Mike, maybe you should say that. I'm like, or maybe you think, no, I don't. I'm not saying that. My brain, I don't have to say I'm not going to do it. You can't fuck me with shit. But he did go ahead and say it. And, as friends, it made them clash. And once again, and this is off camera, I'm stuck in between two friends. You understand what I'm saying? And it puts me in an awkward position because Chris is a very good friend of mine. Chris is like my super positive friend. When I need some spiritual advice or I need a dose of positivity, I'm pulling that from Chris. Chris, come over here. He chill, hang out, eat, drink. Slept over and stuff before and stuff like that. And the three of us were real cool. And so when this happened, it was just like it was disheartening because I didn't want a situation where a show would like tear us apart. But Brendan and Chris have spoken since then. They're in a much better place. I don't necessarily know if they're friends or whatnot, but they are in a much better place where they can be cordial with each other. And I'm very pleased about that. As far as Brandon, hearing stuff about Brandon, rumors him leaving and such and such. Brandon had some things that he did not like behind the scenes about how he was portraying the show and some issues with production, particular people and stuff. And, I always tell people you gotta do what you gotta do to protect your peace. And if protecting your peace means you have to walk away from a situation, that's unfortunate. I want you to see it through. But you got to do what you got to do. But ultimately, he did see it through to the best of his ability. And that's all I can ask for.
Fair.
That's the best way. Like you said, it's the only way that you can do. So,
but I was glad he and I was able to do this together. I think we came to a realization about a lot of stuff, and this was kind of like the last few months before, we parted our separate ways with our living situation. We're still good friends. We talk almost every day. I'm sure I see him later on this week for my birthday, but we don't live together anymore, and that's okay.
So you would say that you and your relationship with Brandon, even like your relationship with Carl. Because you and Carl
is better than it's ever been. As far as me and Carl, Carl said a few things that I will say dented our friendship. I will say that it did dent it. But the thing about it is, we're able to have a conversation. The thing I like and respect about Carl is because, I'm one of those people who's very good. Let me just be 1,000% with you. I'm from the motherfucking hood of downtown Atlanta, Fourth Ward. Very hood boy, very very hood boy. I've just been able to pull it together and rein it in. And Carl, he doesn't necessarily rein it in. And so for me, I kind of have to talk to him at his level, away from everybody else. It's very kind of OG, like street to street. You understand what I'm saying? But he kind of said some stuff that did piss me off, and we had a conversation about it. We're good. It's not no bad blood or anything between us. It's not a situation where when we see each other out, we finna fight on site. He's not the only motherfucking fighter on the cast. I just have, I just have a whole lot more to lose. When you're the head of a family, you ain't got time to be rolling the streets with people. You learn a lot of shit.
Okay.
But like I said, me and Brandon are good. Me and Carl, we're good. Like I said, we had to have a talk. It was a dent in our friendship. It's a dent, not a destruction, and we can move past it. Me and Chris are good. I'm good with Larry. Larry was the person I kind of knew to lead. We were kind of associates, and that's only because of me. And that's because I believe when somebody is married, you keep respectful distance from them. I try not to be friends with married people. That's just how I was raised. Freshie and Lacey are a hoot. Me and Lacey, she's Aquarius too. Me and her, but like we get along real well. Like from the jump, it was like, oh, like it was cool. And I love Freshie. Freshie is hard working. Anything asks her to help me with, or she gives me a lot of wisdom. I love Freshie.
Well, that's good. It's good to hear that that the cast is still unified in such a way, whether it be on or off the platform.
Well, no, the cast, the entire cast is not unified. I said my.
Oh well.
No, but because they're not. Because they're not. They're not. They're not. And I think
the unified.
Huh?
Who's not unified?
Well, Brendan Carl, yeah, that's that right now. That's at the point of I don't know if it can be repaired. I do know that Brendan does not want to have anything to do with him at the moment. And for Carl, I think Carl was figuring like this will be something we can laugh about or talk through, or this is a situation for the show. And on both sides, I feel like things kind of escalated and went too far. And sometimes when you do things, there's no coming back from that. Or even if you think somebody's playing around or something, you wear any mask long enough and it becomes your face. And I hope they can find a way. I would hope they can at least be cordial to a point with each other, because I would like to have situations like where we can all get together, where Carl could come over here for dinner. I could have Brandon over here for dinner, because we've done that before. But right now, I feel like they just need some time, some space away from each other. And perhaps time will fix that. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. But either way, it's not something I'm going to mediate or try to referee.
Ooh, mediate, referee.
I'm not. I'm going to absolve myself.
Sounds like those are two words. That's one of those words were used by that one. Oops. However it goes. That one over there in the blue.
Mm-hmm.
Mediate. Because God forgives. I don't. But that's that story.
That's what I said we're working on. Remember what he said earlier about having his own. He likes to have his own experience of people before passing judgment.
Right.
when a person does some shit that makes me judge them, when a motherfucker disrespect me, they gonna forever be judged in my eyes. But
forever.
I'm trying to work.
Forever.
We're gonna have to give you that tea backstage if you stick around. But anyway.
I appreciate it, but like I said, it's a complicated situation, and that's something the two of them have to figure out for themselves. They both adults. I love both of them. I respect both of them. But I'm kind of also good at compartmentalizing stuff. Stuff that involves web life is stuff that involves web life, and it's not going to seep over to what's going on with HeyMikeyATL.com or my radio show or any other or Control Magazine or any other stuff I have going on. That's for that situation.
Yeah.
And people need to learn. Y'all better learn one. If there's one word that you will ever learn from HeyMikeyATL, it is compartmentalization. Learn that. Bubble this up. Sometimes, and some. Just think about it. Sometimes some people like for me, I have a friend for every occasion. Some friends I can work with, but I can't party with. Some friends I can travel with, but I can't work with. And it's just a friend for every occasion. And you have to have that same thing about different projects and situations you're going on. Some people I can do a reality show with, but I'm not going to do a scripted show with them. Some people I can do a scripted show with, but I'm not going to work on a website with them. Just know that. And that's okay, because everybody's not for everything.
Yeah.
And be okay with telling people no, and be okay with not being invited to certain situations. Learn to fly
Yeah,
with eagles.
it's like for us, it's like because Jamar doesn't really watch some of these. He's kind of reality TV burnt out, like from the Love and Hip Hops and Housewives and
Yeah,
shit like that.
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
That in particular, yeah, it's the
yeah.
same.
So yeah. So it's like there's this reality show called Bell Collective that's here where I'm from,
Oh, what?
and it's called Bell Collective. It's on the OWN network, and it's on now, and it's down here where I'm
Oh,
from.
yeah. Okay.
And one of the girls from that show was someone that I know personally, and we were in talks of doing an interview, and I knew that Jamar didn't watch the show, but even though he didn't watch the show, I had asked him, would you want to be a part of it? He's like, nah, girl, you can do that by yourself, and it was, and I understood, you know what I mean, because he don't watch the show. We not really
I
into that
wouldn't
other
have no
shit.
input. I would have zero input.
Yeah, he would have no input. All I would be doing is giving him questions to ask, and he wouldn't even be into it, child. He'll just be there just to be there because I asked him to. But if he
What
doesn't want to do
that?
that, then that's fine. That's cool because I know he ain't with that. And I respect that.
You
You
know,
know what I
down.
mean? Because there's some things that he does that I can't be a part of. Like he watched Drag Race. I ain't into that shit, but he is. So if he watches, if when he wants to do live reviews on it, I can't participate because I don't watch that shit. It doesn't
That's
interest me.
But that's a good thing, and see that's partnership too. One thing I've learned from working with different people because I've done different reiterations of my radio show, in particular with co-hosts. I will say this version of my show I have now with Imani, Zap, and Carl is the best one yet. We have a formula; it works real good, real good. I love working with the two of them. Is being a leader means assessing the strengths and weaknesses of every single person around you, and knowing that it is cruel of you to ask somebody to give something that they can't give. You know that he is burned out by reality TV. He is not going to be for an interview like that, so don't require him to be a part of that.
Mm-hmm.
That's taking leadership of the situation.
Mm-hmm. And
You know?
vice versa.
Vice versa, like you said, right? Vice versa. That's been a good leader. That's been a good partner. That's understanding. That's saying, I see you, you see me. I understand this is not your stilo, so I got this. Maybe next time you can take care of this for me.
Yeah,
Reciprocation.
yeah. That's just the things that we do, which is why most people be like, well, when you friends with a person, you can't go into business with your friends. But I think
Some
that
of
me and
them,
Jamar have a good understanding as far as what we want to do and what we kind of don't want to do. Like it may be some things where I probably ain't too keen about, but Jamar can kind of convince me to do it, and then I'll be like, okay, if you feel strongly about it, I'll do it, and then I'll probably do it, and then I'll probably enjoy it. So a lot of the times, Jamar knows that I can be very skeptical about a lot of things and people. So when he, convince me to try to give it or them or chance, I take it under consideration, even though half the time I'm like,
Like, girl, bye.
you guys do. I got you, bro.
So
but I'll do it anyway.
I wanted to recap or quickly touch on the reunion because we just
Oh,
sort
God.
of finished it, and it was a lot. It was a lot.
A lot.
But earlier this morning, before I even had a chance to see it, I got a phone call from Tremel, child. Girl, he watched that. He was like, why did I watch this reunion and my whole performance was muted? What? Do you have any idea what happened? From your perspective, you know what happened with that?
I don't.
I was like, oh, shit. No. He was so mad. I was like, I'm sorry, friend. I was
I mean, I hate that because I love Tremel in his lime green suit. It was wonderful. It was mint, I believe. I loved it.
Hey, look, I said I was gonna ask you. I said I was gonna ask you that if I had the chance to make sure I remember before during the interview.
Because the thing about being a producer and cast member, sometimes I have to be double blind in certain situations, so I don't have like an advantage over the other cast members. So I have to be kind of like that's just being fair. So I have to be like just as surprised as they would be about certain things and stuff. Because I mean, I watched it this morning. I definitely make sure I watch it by myself, so I can be pissed off by myself. Pray about it by myself, exhort whatever demons I needed to out of myself at the time, because I do live with my sister and my son is here too, and yeah, and whatever I'm dealing with, I'm not going to poison them with it. There's some things I liked about the reunion and some things I didn't like. I mean, it's reality TV. It is what it is.
Okay, and another question that I got in regards to the reunion, because I watched it at work. I was sitting in my car eating my Pizza Hut on my lunch break, watching
But I did look good in that blue suit though. That weight loss has worked for me real good.
Oh yeah,
it.
I said, come on, that's all the
Yes,
skinny.
God. But I was reading the comment section, and sometimes when
Oh,
you read the comment section,
I'll read the comments.
First mistake.
people, yeah, you read the comment section. Now, I'm gonna ask you this
Oh my
because
God,
you were
I'll read the comment section. What are you going to say?
was there an issue between you and the host of the reunion?
Tomorrow, Rashad?
Yes.
No, it wasn't. It was not an issue between he and I. But I will be very honest with you. I didn't think he would be the best host for the situation. Like I said again with me. So like I said, I don't know a whole lot about production, like the cameras and stuff like that. But one thing I do know very well, and I'm always right about this, and people will find this out. I know about human behavior and patterns, where I can almost accurately predict how somebody's going to act in any given situation once I know four different things about them, which I'm never going to tell because that's my secret and my secret weapon. I knew that necessarily those cast members weren't respecting the way he needed to be respected. Me, I'm all about professionalism. A fat ass cow with blue spots on him in a costume could have sat on there and I would have been respectful. I can't necessarily say that about the rest of the cast or certain people. And I also felt like, he was a little unfair in his approach with certain situations because and this is not to promote Brandon. This is not to promote Brandon, and this is not to slight Carl. He was allowing Brandon to talk, and whenever it came time for Carl to respond, he was okay. Well, let's go to the next. But you can't do that. You can't keep doing that. Let Carl get his answer in too, and we'll edit it out later on and do what we need to do. And so I feel like it was a bit of a bias there. Maybe the boy didn't realize that. His name was Rashad. I'm gonna call him the boy. His name was Rashad. He didn't realize that. I don't have a personal problem with Rashad, but I felt like somebody else that I wanted to be the host should have been the host. But you compromise on different stuff when you're working with other people. The other producers did agree ultimately that somebody else should have been it because the person I wanted to do it has a strong personality himself, and he's somebody that all of them would have respected. He's also very knowledgeable in relationships and interpersonal connections with people, and that's exactly what we need.
That would have been great. That would have been great.
I feel like he gave his best. I definitely feel like he gave it his best attempt, but that type of situation was not for him.
Because I had when y'all did a live a long time ago. I think like the first couple of episodes that came out, I was like, shit, me and Scotty would do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Because like
no, but then
and
I
that
was like,
particular
no,
situation,
we got somebody else to do it already. So I was like,
okay. Sometimes because I don't know Rashad, I don't know where and that's no shade because I've never seen him before, so I don't know where he comes from.
Well, I mean, most people know him. He works at CNN. I can't recall exactly what he does there, but I think he works as part of the production team on some of the shows on there.
Okay.
And that's where his expertise comes from in production.
Okay. Yeah, because there have been plenty of situations. There have been plenty of situations where me and Jamar review the show and stuff like that, and we are here. I know we still trying to build our names up, but we're here. We watch the show. We know exactly what's going on. Like we know how to interview people. We know how to keep control of the room. We know.
Well, you
Not
know what?
professional.
You just put your bid in or whatnot. It is duly noted.
And
It
I'm
is,
like
Oh,
physically here. Like,
yeah, and I'm sure he would travel to be physically there. I mean, it's definitely duly noted, but it's a learning lesson, and maybe this time around it just wasn't for y'all, but we are doing another season,
that's fair enough.
and so
So
we
yeah.
can see.
with you being sort of in the business for a long time and built the following that you have, and like Scotty said, we're trying to build our audience, build our platform, and network and do things
Y'all are
like
doing a good job because so for me, so I'll be very honest with you, it's two this year is two different mediums that I'm trying to tackle that I haven't particularly been good at in the last few years. Instagram I've mastered perfectly. Facebook I've mastered perfectly. Twitter and YouTube, no, I'm still learning. I'm still trying to master that. So I got to fine tune and tailor some stuff. I think what you guys start doing though is start talking about a bit more mainstream stuff. It is very good the work you do for the community, but I'm gonna tell you something. It was not until I started speaking about mainstream stuff and talking to me writing about mainstream stuff that I accrue the accolades and the amount of success that I have on my own. I'll be 1,000% with you.
When you
Mix it
say
up.
mainstream stuff, are you talking about like
pop culture, current events.
pop culture?
Absolutely, and get a few celebrities on here. Start with the B and C level ones. Reach out to these reality stars that y'all interviewing, and doing their stuff because y'all views are not bad at all.
Well, you know what? That's another thing we've been talking about. Don't get me wrong. Now, me and Jamar do have conversations about what we want to do to continue to build ourselves up because we do have different opportunities, especially in the LGBT circuit, which I never thought I would ever have. So it's like now it's, for example, I don't know if you watch growing up hip hop or not. I only watch it now because Lily from SWV is on this show.
Yeah, that's right.
She recently followed me on Instagram and because she saw my post about her and her daughter and her son and I
You reach
was
out to her.
giving her all this praise, whatever. Now I have been talking to Jamar about it. Jamar said if you get her on our show, I don't even watch that show, but I definitely
Let me
be
tell
in
you,
the
she definitely she follows you because she saw you did that. That's your opportunity right there. Go into her DM,
hmm
find out who her publicist is, do a little research, do a little research, find out who her publicist is, and reach out. All they can say is yes or no.
Hmm.
That's true.
That's all they can say is
Cause
yes,
we
and that's
talk, we thrown in different type of names of people. Like for example, she was a name that we talked about. We talked about Candy, and Jamar was like, "Oh, she probably gonna charge us a big ass fee for her to be on our show."
most of them don't. Like I mean, a lot of them don't charge because they want exposure or whatnot. But just try. Say yes or no. They can only
Yeah,
say yes.
I mean, that's true.
that's
And I
true.
mean, we actually that's really what this platform initially
Mhm.
was a chance for us to come
Also,
and do
also, another good thing to
topics,
do.
and we were going to incorporate like the interviews like intermits, like every now and then, maybe once or twice a month depending on how it goes. But then these started to do so well and people started to requesting and booking that's these just became weekly interviews, and we always had somebody else that was willing to come onto the platform for that week. So we're going to be moving our sort of current event and pop culture segments to a different platform separate from this. Allow this to be the visual interview space and have a separate
You
medium
can do both.
for that.
You can do both. You should mix it all
Yeah,
into both because
we were re
that'll pull people in right there. That's
Mm.
we
what I'm
were
telling you.
reached out to. Another platform reached out to us, so it's like you know what I'm saying? We discussed it, and due to the fact that, and we're gonna do it, it's just that, since Jamar has moved to Atlanta, so soon as he got there, he been on the go. He hasn't had the chance to really just have a moment's peace yet. So I think this is the last week where he'll be like busy, and after that, we'll be able to sit down and really discuss the other platform and how we're gonna put it out there because that's partially one of the reasons why we're glad that you're on the show, because you are doing what we're doing now. We're not on your level yet, but we're moving up
Oh,
a little bit.
so you are you trying to say you feel you consider me to be an influential person?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm glad you said that because some people on shows try to say they're not influential or whatnot. But you know what I say to that? Influential people never have to say what they are; they just are.
Yeah, because remember when you
Like
first reached
me.
out to me. Remember when you first reached out to me about doing reviewing the show and doing the interviews and stuff, and you and I had a phone conversation. And I even told you on that phone
Hmm.
conversation that I'm overwhelmed by everything we got going on, because since that phone conversation, there have been a lot of opportunities for both me and him. So it's
Right.
like we
But I
are
told
kind
you it
of
was moving.
overwhelmed by this whole thing. We're not used to it.
So
A year ago we didn't have all this stuff going on.
what did I just tell you? What you gonna have to do now?
We're gonna have to,
Start saying no.
We already are.
Prioritize what's going to move you forward,
Amen.
and that's it.
Because baby, not everybody gets to. Not we're not bringing everybody in that guest spot.
Oh, you better not. Oh, you better not. Let me tell you, for the overall health of your career and your success, do not bring them. I had to learn that the hard way.
Hello.
If you're trying to be an eagle, you cannot deal with pigeons, crows, and ravens, and they all around you.
oof,
Baby, don't know. We good at sort of picking them out because they
I had
will.
I had to stop reviewing certain things, stop going to certain events, and people say, "Oh, he's so stuck up. He got such a nasty attitude. His face when he come over, he look mean or whatnot." No, sometimes support looks just like me showing up.
that's true.
So that's that. And if you have not retweeted, reposted, done anything for me, when the last time you reposted the story from HeyMikeyATL.com? When the last time you shared a link of something I did? When the last time you come in and share one of my pictures or something on your page? I can only pour into people that pour into me. Remember that.
Yeah, that's true, because we have been saying no to certain things. I know that there were two people that wanted me to come on their platform for a panel, and I just said, no disrespect, but I don't really like what your platform really represents. I see the negativity, and I just don't want to be a part of it. So,
Right. Also, research, and also this is something I had to learn. Research everybody thoroughly before you do anything. Don't assume that just because it's free or they present it to you in a pretty package that is a great thing to do. Research the hell out of everybody.
yeah, like
What
I,
you know, what you experience, and not necessarily about what you heard.
yeah,
Because there are wicked people who will destroy good people's reputation simply because it didn't work out with them.
that's true. That's
So
very
be
true.
very wary of that, especially being in media or whatnot, and stay out of people's wars.
You said stay out of people's what?
Wars.
Oh,
Hmm.
okay.
This is Atlanta. You are here to. Let me tell you something, and this I'm telling you, I had to learn. You are the reviewer. When you are talking or interviewing with them, you are here to work. You are not here to hang out with them and be going to dinner and going to the club and partying. You are media. You are there to work. That is networking. You are not their friend. Do not develop close relationships with them. Keep it working and professional. Not a hookup, not a friendship, work and professional. That is the mistake that I made.
You try to be everybody's friend.
I did. And let me tell you what I found out. A friend to everybody is a friend to nobody, especially not to themselves.
Oh,
Child. But
It's
you'd be
hard.
surprised. You'd be surprised. Luckily, I've been, and Scotty will tell you, a very good judge of character for the most part. So I definitely can receive that because some people.
How long you been in Atlanta?
What's that?
How long you been down here in Atlanta?
Living to like 2 weeks,
Ooh.
2 to 3 weeks.
Let me tell you, living here is very different from visiting. Be very careful. Every single move you make now, moving here has to be extremely calculated, because people will. They say you partying with one person or hanging with one person. and they immediately write you off as you part of that person's crew, even if you just met them one time or took a picture with them. Be careful about that.
Mm-hmm.
Be careful. I'm just giving you some gems, stuff that I learned.
Yeah. Well, I'm not. You ain't got to worry about that over here because
Got it.
I don't like people like that.
I don't either.
Right.
Carl says that about me a lot. Carl's like, oh, so this boy right, he don't like nobody. Mikey ain't finna show up to the event. He don't like half the people in this room. It's not necessarily that I don't like them. It's just that I'm just not for the shit. I'm not for it.
I'm very observant with people. I'm not that quick to be open with people because it's like, I've learned from my mistakes with being open with people. And in the past, I've been open with people and it's put me in my ass, like literally. And I don't have time for that. So sometimes I will pick up on a person's negative energy and I will still try to fuck with them still just to see if it's just my paranoia. But 9 times out of 10, it wasn't my damn paranoia. It was all facts. And that bitch
People
up
will show
there,
you who they
would,
are. People will show
Right.
you.
that bitch
I'm gonna
up
tell you.
there would tell me that it ain't your paranoia. It's just what it is.
Just take this advice. Make colleagues, not friends. The friends that you had before you started doing all this, those are people that know you know you. Everybody from here moving forward, especially in Atlanta, is about clout. And they'll do anything for it. It is the most addictive drug on the planet. And they will never be able to get enough of it. They will sell their own soul for an interview.
It's like, what do you do?
And as uncute as I consider myself to be a lot of the time, I've had guys offer to give me ads or a dick to be on my radio show or my platform or something like that. Tell me they want to talk to me, to date me or whatnot. We on dates. Next thing I know, yeah. So I do some rapping. I know you got a radio show. Oh, and dinner's done.
That's weird how people do that. It's just like,
I guarantee you, they'll know you. Don't date anybody in the industry. Do not date somebody who's trying to do music and art. Don't do it. Get Joe Smo. Go ahead and get the nurse that's working down at the hospital who like you, who don't have no interest.
what you got going on? Nobody
Right.
in the spotlight.
Do that. Ooh, because that's what I did. That's what I've been doing. But I'm a little different though because I'm bi too. So my relationship was with a girl. So,
That's too much.
and honestly, I might be going back to that if I can get my ass to Houston because woo, boy, it's hurt.
Well, I can't speak to the women of Houston, but the men of Houston, girl, don't even waste your time. So,
but y'all got anything else for me? Because I'm gonna have to head out soon. I gotta go pick up somebody.
Yeah, it's not much. We're pretty much towards the end now.
Okay.
But tell us about some of your upcoming endeavors. What can we help you promote? What do you need us to support you to do?
So I will be completely rebranding. In the month of April, you will see a different me. That's all I can say about that. Web Life Season 2, we'll probably be starting to talk about that in a few weeks. Getting that together and such and such. I'll be starting some nonprofits, one for men with body image issues, another one for victims of rape and male victims of rape and sexual assault. Those are two things that I've experienced myself, and we don't talk about them enough. I think y'all see me a lot of times talking about the body positivity stuff, and that's because I've lived it. And I'm always advocate for the underdog. Jesus was the underdog, so I feel like I'm doing God's work when I do that.
Amen. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Amen. So I'll reach out to y'all about that. I will have an event for when you see the rebranding or whatnot. And I won't be planning myself. Those who can do, those who cannot outsource, I'll have an event planner. All I'm gonna do is show up dressed.
And that's how you
event planning is not my forte, and it is not a headache I want ever again.
It's true. It can be a lot. One of the last things that we try to get in all of our interviews, and this is a really great question to ask someone with the background that you have, is throughout the interview, we want to know: did you feel comfortable? Did you feel like we did our jobs, or what was your feedback about this particular interview?
Well, I felt very comfortable. But the thing about it is, I always feel comfortable in interviews because I know how to answer and what to answer and whatnot. I feel like y'all asked very some personable questions. Um, I do probably wish we would have delved a little bit more into my personal life because I think people know me, but they don't. But they know me at the same time. And I'll answer questions. You just have to ask the right questions. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
That's true. And I feel like I knew that you were under like a time constraint, so we wanted to make sure we get a lot of our initial questions
Oh,
in.
well, we passed the time constraint, but I wanted to make sure y'all got your interview, so I didn't care about that. Because I mean, I committed to doing something, so I do it. I believe in following through on my word.
Amen and yes, God. So I mean, if you ever want to come back for a part two, we can really get into the details of just.
No, we can do that. We need to yeah, we need to do some work.
We
Okay.
should.
Let me know. Maybe we can do a
Right.
collaboration.
Right.
A Mikey collaboration with Scotty and Jamar with the Prelude. I'm down for that.
That's fine with us.
Because I really want to do like a black media type situation. That I think you two would really I think you two would really like and benefit from. And when I say black media, it's people I consider to be true media. You know, so we'll set that up.
That'd be dope. I appreciate that. Thank you so
I'm
much.
always down for people to help me. As long as you got my back, I got yours.
All
Amen.
right then.
And
You got a friend in me.
I have forgotten. I'm coming for that cooking because I love people that can cook now.
Well, let me listen. I'm down for that. Either I'll cook, or my sister will cook, or that boy of mine upstairs he'll cook something. He 18, so he can do that.
All right. Well, man, Scotty.
Oh, okay. Okay, but listen now, before we end, don't leave just yet, because like Jamar said, he has something to share with you backstage. We know you got to do something, so we're gonna share that with you
Okay.
real quick and then let you go. But
Okay.
thank you guys for watching. This was our 30th episode
Oh,
of the
really?
Prelude. The
Oh, it's a
30th.
milestone.
Oh wow, this is damn.
Right. 30th episode of the Prelude. We want to thank Mikey for coming on the show. I know it was really late, but this has been a week already. But
But yeah,
thank you for coming on the show. And happy early birthday because we both have the same birthday. So
yes.
shout out to you for that. And thank you guys for watching. And we'll talk to you guys next week. We'll holler at you guys. This was a good episode. Great advice that we got.
Dope.
Bye
Peace.
guys.